welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin, and this is a custom video for Jay. He writes, "Hi Austin, hope you are well. I have recently taken a fondness to the 16710 GMTs and wanted to get your opinion maybe in a future video about them. As you know, I have a 126610 LN Submariner, and that's the latest ceramic date sub that I got at the end of May. Call it the Austin Daniels bug, but your channel has really been a favorite of mine over the last year or so. And anyone who claims to know you and your channel knows that you're the biggest pre-ceramic preacher there is." Well, thank you, Jay, for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I love my 5-digit pre-ceramic Rolex watches because it's a perfect balance between the older aesthetic and modern usability. My question to you is this: how would you recommend that someone new to the scene go about collecting a 16710? I have followed them for the last 6 months and have seen the prices increase substantially and would like to move on them sooner rather than later. That's some good advice there. You should. What do you look for when comparing prices online? I know that papers aren't necessary, but I would prefer to at least have them for the sentiment. It seems like the average price is around 10 to 12,000 USD, but as the residing expert, well, I don't know about that, certainly an enthusiast, all of your opinions will weigh heavy on my decision. All right, a 16710 pre-ceramic GMT Master 2. How do you go about buying one? Well, the way I do it, I'm kind of lucky. I live in Tokyo, so the choices here are virtually endless. And I usually find the piece on Rakuten. Usually it's here in Tokyo. If it's not, I'm not adverse to flying to check it out if it's another part of Japan. I've done that with the 116710 LN. You probably have seen that video. If you haven't, link in the description. But usually the piece is in Tokyo, and so I'll be able to go and see it. But what I do is I set the setting to cheapest to most expensive, and I go through, and usually what I'm looking for is originality and the lines. I want an unpolished piece. That's much more important to me than box and papers, but if you can get both box and papers, an unpolished piece, that's ideal. Now, when you have it serviced at RSC, you'll be able to get service papers, and that's the next best thing to the original papers. But again, the original papers are great to have. Now, oftentimes on the listing, it'll say refinished, and it'll say something like refinished by our partner shop. Well, I stay away from pieces like that. I mean, if it's a really good deal, if you just want it to wear, it's not really a collector's piece, you just want to kick around with it, not a big deal. But if you're looking for something, you know, like a Safe Queen, something really collectible, then I would avoid something like that. Ideally, I would like a piece that has never been serviced, has never been touched. It might look a little rough around the edges. I think that's a good thing. Again, I'd rather have a little wear on the watch and it be unpolished than look all minty but have been polished by a third party. If it has had a service and a polish, but then it comes with the RSC service card, well, that means it went through RSC and it got about the best polish it could ever get in the world. So that would be okay for me. Again, not as ideal as a completely virgin piece, and by virgin I mean like unpolished. All right, and so I find usually the piece that I think is the right balance of cost and the features I want. Originality, unpolished. Again, box and papers are a plus for me. I'll go and see it, check it out, take my loop, and pull the trigger if I like it. Now, if I was living in the boondocks of the States, obviously I wouldn't have the luxury to go and see a lot of these pieces. So what would I do? And I'm assuming you might be in this situation, Jay. Well, I would shop for the pieces online. If they were in the States, I would consider going to look at them. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a $10,000 plus purchase. And so to get it in hand, I think is really important. If the shop offers returns, maybe you don't have to go to the trouble of going all the way to see it, but I would be very careful, especially in a place that's not Japan. And I say that because here on the internet, they represent their pieces really well. So if I were in the States thinking about buying from a brick and mortar shop in Japan, I would trust the pictures. If I was in the States looking to buy from a brick and mortar shop in the States, it really depends on the shop. So be careful. Some cultures, they take pictures in a way that makes the piece look as good as possible. Japan, on the other hand, takes pictures to let you know exactly what you're going to get. Now, identifying whether a piece has been polished or not is pretty hard, and you could hand somebody a piece that's been polished once, lightly, and polished well, and they'll never be able to tell it's been polished. Or a piece could come from RSC and been polished a couple times. You could hand it to somebody with a loupe and they'd never be able to tell it was polished either. Of course, you could always take it back to RSC. They'd be able to tell you a little bit about the service history of the watch. But my whole point is that it's harder than some people might say. And loupe in hand, it's not like you can just, bam, that's been polished. It's tough. But you have to handle a lot of pieces, get some unpolished examples in hand and study those, look at pictures and images on the internet of unpolished pieces and sort of bounce what you're looking at off that. But again, that can be really hard, and if it's been polished through RSC, you'll be able to know. Also ask whoever's selling it. Maybe they know a little bit about the history of the watch. Often here in Japan, they'll tell you a piece has been refinished, like as a selling point. They put it in the description like, oh yeah, like it's all set to go. We've already done that for you. But oftentimes, if it's an older piece, then they won't know about the service history of the watch. So you have to sort of know what lines to expect, get your loupe out, and do that. That's pretty much the best you can do. But you never know 100%. That's the funny thing about it, despite what people might lead you to believe. Okay, let's get back to Jay's email. He continues, I like the versatility of the pre-ceramic pieces and how you can easily switch the bezel. Ideally, I would like to get one that has a holes case, but SEL bracelet. And that's a solid in-link bracelet. So holes case, solid in-link bracelet. Now mine has a holes case and it came with an oyster bracelet with hollow in-links. This is a 1999 A serial. It's an earlier A. So as far as the holes cases go, you could go way earlier, tritium, Swiss only dial, but that's not going to have the solid in-link bracelet. They started using the solid in-link bracelets in the later 1999 A serials, okay, not the earlier ones like I have. So you're going to want a late 1999 to an early 2002. That's going to be the sweet spot for you. So that's going to be a late A P serial, a K serial, or an early Y serial. All right, he continues, I appreciate your time and have really enjoyed your videos, especially the custom videos. Thank you for your time and, more importantly, the constant enjoyment and knowledge as we all explore this hobby in a unique way. Well, Jay, thank you. And we're not quite done with Jay. We're going to talk about the second email I got from him, but this will start him off in his quest for a 16710. Guys, let him know what you think. Do you have any advice for Jay as he starts his journey? Stay tuned for part 2 because I got another email from him. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.